Imagine waking up one day and finding out your green card, the very document that proves you're allowed to live and work in the United States, has been revoked. Imagine being told you have to leave the only country you've called home for years, the country where your children were born, where you built a life, where you have dreams, responsibilities, and hopes for the future. That's not just a nightmare. That's a reality that thousands of immigrants are now facing, or could soon face, because of new immigration rules quietly approved by Congress. Rules that many of you may not even know about yet, but that will absolutely affect your life, your family, and your future in America. If you're a green card holder, if you're applying for one, or if you're even thinking about adjusting your status, this video is for you. And you need to watch it all the way through, because what I'm about to tell you could change everything. This isn't fear-mongering. This is fact. This is urgent. And if you care about protecting your immigration status, your ability to stay in the U.S., your path to citizenship, or the future of your loved ones, then you need to listen carefully, because the rules are changing, the stakes are higher than ever, and the margin for error is smaller than you think. Let's start with what just happened. In the latest round of legislative updates, Congress has passed a series of immigration rule changes that directly target green card holders, legal permanent residents, and those in the process of becoming one. These changes are buried in larger spending and policy bills, which is exactly how they often get through without much public attention. But make no mistake, they are already taking effect, and they will reshape the landscape of immigration law in the United States in ways we haven't seen in years. What does that mean for you? It means that the safety net you thought you had might not be as secure as you believed. It means that the smallest mistake, a missed deadline, an incomplete form, a misunderstood requirement, could now have consequences far more severe than before. And most importantly, it means that if you don't stay informed and take action, you could lose the one thing that keeps you legally in this country, your status. Now, let's break this down because you need to understand exactly what's going on, who it affects, and what you need to do right now to protect yourself and your family. First, let's talk about green card holders, the people who have already achieved a major milestone in the immigration journey. You've gone through the long process, maybe waited for years, paid your fees, jumped through the hoops, and finally received that little plastic card that says you're a lawful permanent resident. You think you're safe, right? You think you're set. But here's the truth. Being a green card holder does not make you untouchable. In fact, under these new rules, green card holders are now under more scrutiny than ever before. Why? Because lawmakers are tightening the requirements around what it means to be a person of good moral character, and they're expanding the grounds for deportation and inadmissibility in ways that directly impact longtime residents. One of the biggest changes? Green card holders can now be more easily denied re-entry into the United States if they've spent too much time abroad, even if they had a valid reason, like caring for a sick family member or working for a multinational company. The new rules expand the way the government interprets abandonment of permanent resident status, and Customs and Border Protection officers at ports of entry are being given more discretion than ever before to question your ties to the U.S., your travel history, and even your intent to live here permanently. We're talking about legal residents who have lived here for decades, who pay taxes, who have jobs, who have families, being stopped at the airport and told they may not be allowed back in. That is not a hypothetical scenario. That is happening now. And it's not just about travel. Green card holders are also facing increased scrutiny during their renewals. USCIS is now more frequently requesting additional evidence, conducting interviews even for straightforward renewals, and denying applications over minor technical errors. If you're a green card holder, your card is typically valid for 10 years, but if you don't renew it on time, or if you travel abroad and come back with an expired card, you could be denied entry or flagged for additional screening. And if your renewal application is denied, for any reason, you could be placed in removal proceedings. That's how serious this is. Here's what you need to do right now if you're a green card holder. First, check the expiration date on your green card. If it's going to expire within the next 6 months, you need to start the renewal process immediately. Do not wait. Go to the official USCIS website, download Form I-90, and submit it as early as possible. Second, if you plan to travel outside the United States for any extended period of time, I'm talking more than 6 months, especially over a year, you need to speak with an immigration attorney before you leave. Do not rely on advice from friends, family, or even your employer. Get professional guidance. And if you're already overseas and your green card is expiring or has expired, contact the nearest U.S. embassy or consulate immediately. Do not try to re-enter the U.S. without a valid green card or proper documentation. You could be denied boarding or detained at the border. Now, let's shift gears and talk about those of you who are not yet green card holders, the ones who are in the process of applying, waiting, hoping, and praying for that next step. If you're in the middle of an adjustment of status case, if you've applied for a green card through marriage, employment, family sponsorship, or asylum, then these new rules are going to affect you too, maybe even more than you realize. One of the most alarming changes is how USCIS is handling requests for evidence, or RFEs, and notices of intent to deny or no IDs. Under the new guidelines, USCIS officers have been instructed to issue RFEs and NOIDs much more quickly, and to deny cases outright if they determine that the applicant has failed to meet even the most basic requirements. That means if your application is missing a signature, if you didn't submit the correct supporting documents, or if your explanation letter isn't detailed enough, your entire case could be denied without a second chance. And once your case is denied, you could be placed in removal proceedings, depending on your current immigration status. What does this mean for you? It means you cannot afford to cut corners. You cannot assume that USCIS will understand or figure it out. You need to read every instruction carefully, submit every required document, and double-check your application before you send it in. If you receive an RFE or a NOID, treat it like an emergency. You usually only have 30 to 60 days to respond, and your response needs to be thorough, well-organized, and supported by evidence. If you're not sure how to respond, hire an immigration attorney. Yes, it costs money, but so does losing your case and being deported. This is not the time to gamble. Another major area of concern is the use of advance parole. Many of you have heard the term, but not everyone understands how it works or why it's so important. Advance parole is a travel document that allows certain immigrants, especially those who are in the process of adjusting their status or waiting for their green card, to leave the United States and return without abandoning their application. But under the new rules, USCIS is cracking down on misuse of advance parole, and they're denying applications more frequently. If you apply for advance parole and it's denied and you leave the country anyway, you could be barred from re-entering the U.S. for years or permanently. If you need to travel internationally and you're not a U.S. citizen or a green card holder, you must speak with an immigration attorney before applying for advance parole. Do not assume that just because you filed the form, you're allowed to leave. And never, ever leave the U.S. while your green card application is pending unless you have the proper authorization. The risks are simply too high. Now, let's talk about something that affects everyone in the immigration system: processing times. If you've been following USCIS updates, you've probably noticed that processing times have gotten longer, much longer. In some offices, it now takes over a year just to get a biometrics appointment. Interview wait times have doubled in some cities. And if you're waiting for a green card approval, you could be looking at 18 months, 24 months, or even longer. These delays are causing real problems for families, for workers, and for anyone who needs to prove their legal status for work, travel, or school. Here's what you need to do. First, check your case status regularly using the official USCIS Case Status online tool. You can find it at uscis.gov cases status. Enter your receipt number, and you'll be able to see whether your case is pending, approved, or requires additional action. If your case is taking longer than the normal processing time, you can submit an inquiry through the USCIS Case Assistance tool. And if you're approaching a critical deadline, like the expiration of your work permit or your current visa, and your case is still pending, contact an immigration attorney immediately. You may need to request an expedite or file for a temporary extension. Now let's address something that's on everyone's mind: public charge rules. Under the new guidelines, the government is taking a much harder look at whether an immigrant is likely to become a public charge, someone who depends on government assistance. This includes not just cash benefits like welfare, but also things like Medicaid, food stamps, and housing assistance. If you've used these programs, or if you're applying for a green card through a family member who has, you could be at risk of denial. Here's the key. You need to understand what counts and what doesn't. Not all public benefits are treated the same, and not all applicants are subject to the same level of scrutiny. If you're unsure about how your use of public benefits affects your immigration case, talk to an attorney or a certified immigration consultant. Do not rely on rumors or outdated information. The rules have changed and they continue to change. Finally, I want to talk about something that too many immigrants overlook: the importance of staying informed. Immigration law is not static. It changes constantly, sometimes overnight, and those changes can have a direct impact on your life. That's why you need to watch this channel, Immigration News Today. Subscribe, turn on notifications, and never miss an update. Because the difference between staying in the U.S. legally and facing deportation can come down to one sentence in a new law, one update to a USCIS policy manual, or one missed deadline that you didn't even know existed. So here's my final message to you. You are not alone. You are not powerless. You can navigate the U.S. immigration system, but you have to be informed, you have to be proactive, and you have to take action. Check your case status. Renew your green card on time. Understand the rules before you travel. Respond to USCIS notices immediately. Get help when you need it. And most importantly, never assume that the system will work in your favor just because you've done everything right. The only way to protect your future in this country is to stay one step ahead. And that starts with knowledge. Thank you for watching Immigration News Today. If this video helped you, please hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss an update. Leave a comment below with your immigration questions or the topics you want us to cover next, because your voice matters, and we're here to fight for your future. Together we can cut through the confusion, expose the truth, and help you achieve the American dream. Stay informed, stay prepared, and most importantly, stay safe. See you in the next video.